This is the Sailing World on Water, January 21, 2022. This is a special edition celebrating the wonderful records in the RORC's Transat race. Giovanni Soldini pulled off a great navigation coup, and cut out his rivals, Power Play and Argo, to burst Maserati across the finishing line ahead of them. The other big news was Comanche with Aussie, Mitch Booth, heading an international crew, who took 2 days off the Monohull record to now hold it for both the Atlantic speed record going west to east, and east to west. We have a full report from the RORC. Meanwhile, Sail Melbourne continued in sunny, windy conditions on Port Phillip Bay. The 49ers were one class where a countback was required to anoint Tom Needham and Joel Turner winners, ahead of Jim Colley and Shaun after they finished locked on 35 points. Western Australian Institute of Sport athlete Zoe Thomson put in a commanding performance in her ILCA 6 class win, closely followed by Tokyo Olympian Mara Stransky. Meanwhile, the first race for 2022 saw race 6 of their New South Wales Championships held last weekend on Sydney Harbour. The third race win of the New South Wales 18-foot skiff championship went to the Tech 2 team of Jack McCartney, Charlie Wyatt and Lewis Brake, putting it into the equal lead of the series with just 2 more races to be sailed. Yangdu, John Winning, Mike Kennedy and Fang Warren went into the race with a slender 1-point advantage over Tech 2 but couldn't quite match her rivals' overall speed in the 16 to 19 knot southerly winds and had to settle for second place. Now to the RORC Transat in Grenada. The 30.48 metre, 100-foot, VPLP design Verdia Maxi, Comanche, skippered by Mitch Booth, took Monohull line honours in the 2022 RORC Transatlantic race, winning the magnificent IMA trophy. Comanche set a new race record for the 3,000 nautical mile race from Lanzarote to Grenada of 7 days 22 hours 1 minute 4 seconds. Comanche's new Monohull race record has beaten the previous race record by over 2 days. With the double achieved, Comanche must wait to see if any of the remaining 21 teams racing under IRC can eclipse their corrected time to win the RORC Transatlantic Race Trophy. At sunset on the 10th day of the RORC Transatlantic Race, the modified Volvo 70 L4 Trifork finished the RORC Transatlantic Race in an elapsed time of 9 days 10 hours 27 minutes and 58 seconds. L4 Trifork is the second monohull to finish the race, and the first of 3 70-foot high-tech ocean races. L4 Trifork's IRC corrected time is not enough to beat the 100-foot Maxi Comanche for the overall lead. It has been a long ride and we have had all kinds of weather along the way, especially when we went north into cold weather, and up to 38 knots of wind, commented Joan Lairson. It is a relief to get here, and the race has been an absolute pleasure. In total with this trip we have raced 4,000 miles in under 10 days, and next we will do the RORC Caribbean 600. The boat is now part of the Trifork family. We take out Trifork employees, customers and partners to have a special experience. It is the first time I have come to Grenada and it warms my heart to have presence from local people. We love it. L4 Trifork was originally Ericsson 4, the Juan K design that won the 2008 to 2009 Volvo Ocean Race. Many consider Ericsson 4 as the best Volvo 70 ever built. The original intention was for L4 Trifork to be a fast cruiser, but working with boat captain Jens Dolmer, L4 Trifork has been modified into a turbocharged offshore racer with a longer bowsprit and side foils. Race tactician Bao Becking explains the concept behind L4 Trifork. We had a good game plan, but Comanche is an amazing boat. Maybe if we didn't have the rating hit for the side foils we would have been there on IRC, corrected time, commented Bao Becking dockside. But the owner doesn't give a damn about the rating. The goal is to be the fastest 70-footer, and we have achieved that, as we hope to also in the RORC Caribbean 600. It is always fun to race these boats, and all credit to the experienced crew, and Jens Dolmer, who has done a fantastic job preparing L4 Trifork. We didn't have a single breakage. This boat is an animal and if we don't keep in control, it can be dangerous. L4 Trifork's navigator is Axel Magdahl. The Norwegian was part of the two-boat Ericsson campaign in 2008 to 2009 Volvo Ocean Race, as were many of the Trifork crew. Axel explains the complex weather for L4 Trifork in the RORC transatlantic race. This was not a typical transatlantic race. For a fast boat, usually you would head a little north to find a front and get the speed. For this race, we literally made a 90-degree turn north. After 2 days racing, we were almost the same distance to the finish. It was aggressive, but for us there was no real alternative to the south. We sailed north of the low and it followed us as forecast. After the first low, it got really interesting. Before the start we knew about the second low coming, and had a plan, but after we set off, we saw a third low coming, and we thought, what are we going to do with that? We decided to stay north to get to the downwind side of it, but the path of this third low looked quite unpredictable. My real worry was that if we went south we would come into headwinds, and if we sailed north we would then have few options to reach down. A southerly route opened on the modelling, and we took it, and we had a reasonable chance of catching Comanche on IRC corrected time. As a crew, we had a quick chat as we approached the finish about what time we had left behind. If we had changed the plan or known the boat a little bit better, maybe we would have been 2 hours quicker. All credit to Comanche, they have a great boat, excellent navigator, and a team that sail the boat well, concluded Magda.
Ocean 1 here is Comanche on 17.
This is an absolute weapon in the open ocean. As long as we're crack sheets, this is, the benchmark in monohull, non-foiling monohull at least, offshore racing. Well, Atlantic is one of the special sorts of records. It holds the northern transatlantic crossing from west to east, and now we've got the east to west. So that's ticked off. You can't get any better. It's like I say, the Atlantic is iconic in offshore records for sure.
Yeah, it was a very atypical transatlantic. There was some low pressure systems, and instead of the big high where you just, as you say, you go south and just jibe all the way across the Atlantic in the sunshine, we had bigger waves, headwinds, and really quite difficult conditions, especially for the smaller boats with a very large low with big seas and strong winds. So it was a tough race, and everyone that manages to get here has done a pretty good job.
There's a lot of records out there for grabs, but this one's pretty special for us.
That was really fantastic. I think it's really a nice class because to do a transatlantic like that, a 3-boat, and to be at 20 miles each other is just fantastic. And so we really needed to do a proper race, and I think we really all enjoy very much to be here.
Ciao a tutti, siamo dietro al fronte freddo, stiamo andando abbastanza a canna e anche stare all'interno è un'impresa.
Look, it's an education process for all of us. So as coaches, sailors, regatta management, it came together really well, but it took us a little bit to get there. I'm absolutely stoked with the organisation and how they went about it.
Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to a sun-drenched Sydney Harbour for the 6th heat of the New South Wales Championship for the flying 18-foot skiffs. A lovely southerly breeze will greet the fleet today, and this is the first race back for 2022. I'm Peter Shipway, and joining me in commentary was Jimmy Bury and Andrew Buckland. And it's a very tight point score we've got with 3 heats remaining, but we'll look at the point scores shortly. But firstly, Andrew, to you, a Happy New Year. And wow, tsunami warnings all over the east coast of New South Wales and Australia. When's it going to hit? How big's it going to be? And give us the overview.
Pete, thank you. Welcome. Hello. Happy New Year. Tsunami warning, aka dampsquid.com. Reports of a ripple hitting the east coast of Australia this morning, ranging in size from 0.2 of a metre, so less than a foot, to 0.3 of a metre, so still less than a foot. No harm done, evidently, but continuing explosions underwater off Samoa. So who knows, Peter? But let's talk about the wind, eh?
Yeah, let's talk about the wind on Sydney Harbour. That's what we're here for.
So, folks, a couple of low pressure cells hanging around. Trough through Sydney this morning around a bit after sunrise, and probably the deepest part of that was around 0900 hours. Saw wind speeds up around 20-25 south-southwest, but we've now got the slightly fadey south-southwest flow, probably rotating and probably fading as the day goes on. The race to be started in effectively the beginnings of the flood. Good sea state outside the head, so the expectations are that we might see a bit of action down towards the bottom mark, and we wouldn't be surprised to see the wind range for the day probably 10 to 20 will cover most of it, and we might see south-southeast as well by the end of the day, so a little leftwise rotation, pretty normal stuff.
And this is the first race back in 2022 for the 18-footers.
Yeah. And Pete, just while we're in this little lull here in proceedings, we should probably just mention that Jack McCartney was a sailing master on Celestial, which provisionally had won the Hobart race overall on corrected time, only to get penalised for some radio infringements. But with him on Celestial were Louis Brake and Harry West, and as we've noted, there was a fair proportion of the park was in the race. But Jack's certainly important to the Celestial campaign as sailing master of that boat, and they did a pretty proficient job in an older TP to actually be in the contest all the way to the protest room, shall we say? Unfortunately, so. But still, it's a sign of quality, I think, and we should take our hat off to those boys that did well in the race.
Pretty good effort by those boys, and yes, to lose Hobart on protest, I've been there and done that. It's not a great feeling.
Pete, I didn't want to rub the raw wounds, but Peter was aboard Drake's Prayer, disqualified for an extremely tenuous start line infringement. What year was that, Pete?
1985. I never think about it, only about 10 times a day.
Every day.
Anyway,
right.
let's go 18-foot racing.
That's right.
Let's leave the Hobart race. It's a long way off. There's 1 minute.
Had
1
seen
minute.
half a minute ago.
Yes, it's going to be hard to get up on starboard.
Yeah. So the boys all short tacking up to the pin.
Very interesting.
Yep.
Tech 2's up at the committee boat. She's going to be really behind here at the start, you'd think, if the breeze stays where it is. We've got 40 seconds to go.
Yeah, so Tech 2 now sheeted in and sailing hard upwind.
Trying to get across the line on starboard.
Yep, struggling.
It's definitely a pin end at the moment.
But there will be a rack up down there. You can bank on that. So Tech 2 reaching off now, just trying to sail.
Yeah, he'll get down there, actually.
On the right side of the line, and he'll try and get space to tack, I think.
Yandu got down there as well. There's
looking on screen. Oh, yep.
Noakes blew up here.
Andu,
15 seconds.
Andu early.
Andu's early, yep.
Has to go round.
Smeg's close to it.
Doesn't have to go round, but has to get back on the right side somehow.
6 seconds. 4, 3,
Andu back
2,
on the right side, I think.
1.
Smeg.
Oh. What do we got?
Individual.
So they're probably calling back Andu and
everyone
Smeg.
on port as quick as they could.
So Smeg's handled that. Sorry, Tech 2's handled that with the lowest amount of risk, Pete. So looks like he's got his game face onto me, Jimmy, don't you think?
We'll try and find out who was over and report back, but we have got an individual recall. We're not, don't want to guess too much, but we've got a fair idea who it may be, as they majority of the fleet away on port tack in this nice southerly breeze of probably 12 or 13 knots.
Yeah, so Pete, they're into a good bit there actually, more than 14 knots there. Tech 2, all the boys fully leaned back and probably just gone halfway back on their rig settings.
Yeah, nice.
And the breeze bending back to the right pretty quickly though, Peter.
Nice bit of pressure here, yep. Pressure's coming out of the right. Andu leads that group. First mark up near Clark Island at the mouth of Double Bay. There's a great shot. Look at that. Wow. Sydney Harbour Bridge, Opera House, and 18-foot skiffs. All iconic parts of Sydney Harbour. And then the big Rundle obelisk. Here they go. Noakes will lead just on. He's going to roll over Andu here.
Yep.
No, Yandu's hanging on.
No, they just got their bow in front. It's all right.
And Smeg will be third and Birkenhead Point Marina fourth. Well done, boys.
Good job from them.
Yeah, away they go. The leaders round. Andu first. Sevi Jarvan on the stick. Sam Newton and Matt Stenter. Spinnaker straight away. Smeg, Michael Coxon in third. And the Birkenhead Point. Tim Westwood, Alex Chittenden and Will Dargaville.
The return of Will Dargaville, Shippo, after his bad injury.
Yeah, well done. Oh, Noakes has
got no wind and a lousy set.
Yeah. Lazarus will be fifth around, then Yandu.
Oh, Birkenhead nearly in the tide.
Birkenhead went in the same hole that Noakes found themselves. Now they're getting a puff.
Dylan's going to go down with them.
What a great run here and a great overhead shot of Yandu and Lazarus.
And a couple of Manly ferries come to join the party.
Oh. The ferries are trying to do the right thing.
No, they are. They're going
They
well.
are, mate.
Yeah, they're going all right too.
Yeah. It's not cut bare because he's resting up at home with the dreaded one as well.
Oh, is he?
And he just sent me a message saying Smeg over for sure. So
there you go.
Cubs picked it from his lounge room.
Our spare eyes Cub on the sofa.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cubby.
All the best to you, Cub.
Yep.
Okay, now we've seen Andu's drop shoot, Smeg's drop shoot to get round Chowder. Noakes has dropped, Yandu's dropping, Lazarus has dropped. But it's Tech 2 that took the high lane, are still maintaining the Spinnaker, but they will have to drop, you'd think, to get around George's Head. Meanwhile, Andu has really stormed away to a commanding lead. Oh, Noakes is coming around with plenty of wind. Noakes has perished. Noakes has gone. Noakes has perished. Oh,
so that was just not enough, too much bang on and not enough weight on the end of the wing.
Okay, so Tech 2's round in third. Yandu will pass Noakes, who's capsized. He'll get into fourth spot, Yandu. And then the Birkenhead. Those boys have got the drop, nice early drop. they get that nice and tidy, they should be okay. And just behind them is Lazarus. Capital Partners, Marcus Ashley Jones, as Yandu goes round. Here comes Birkenhead, just passing the upturned Noakes. All the fleet now going out on starboard into the middle of the harbour. Here comes Birkenhead.
And good pressure coming out of Rose Bay, so nobody's going to be short.
There's the Smeg boys.
Smeg on screen in third, provisionally, as they're one of the leading suspects for OCS.
He's the defending JJ champion.
Yeah, and
he needs time in the boat too, I think, don't they? They have a new crew in the bow with...
oh, well, and Bridgie just back from injury.
Yeah.
I had a look at his ankle this morning, you know, he tore ligaments, and it's got plenty of taping on it, so... And the swelling not completely disappeared, and but they'll make a good fist of it, mate, as you know.
Yep.
Tech 2's halved the distance here.
Yeah.
Wind at the mark, probably not even 6 knots, just in a little circle.
Remember, Andu led at just over a minute at Shark Island.
And look at that, Pete. Tech 2 doing a completed jibe with 4 boat lengths to sail.
And Andu's got just no wind. He's just bobbing up and down. The crew all sitting in.
Exactly.
Just easing the sails to get some go forward in the boat. Tech 2 running into a soft spot as well. So the margin has been halved. It's about, well, just over 30 seconds, call it. So from a minute down to 30 seconds, and then another 15 or so seconds to Smeg.
Yep.
Oh, it's very light down here at this leeward mark. Was Yandu's barrelling down on the face of a bit of a puff. It's going to bring him back into play.
So Tech 2 is thinking that the breeze is favouring the left, which looks to be, if he can get rolling and at least 2 guys on trapeze, that's the winning answer, and Andu has tacked very slowly.
Yeah, so 50 seconds between the top 3 boats here. Tech 2 on the lay for the Shark Island turning mark. She'll lead convincingly over Yandu. There she is, she's around now. It's the big long run to Athol, and then the beat up into the finish at Clark Island, Double Bay area. There's Tech 2 rounds.
And Woody's a bit skinny on the lay line, I think.
Yes,
perhaps,
this will be a very big lead now to Tech 2 immediately into this set. They'll probably tack under, no, they're going to tack under Smeg. Smeg's not in play, remember that?
Yeah.
But Smeg will roll them anyway, I think.
It might have been wiser for Tech 2 to go behind Smeg, but anyway, they've done what they've done, and they're comfortably laying, so Smeg will come down to squeeze on them, but they're okay. No, there'll be a hooter, but it won't be for Smeg. But Smeg probably knows that. I doubt that there's any real issue there.
Okay, so Tech 2 wins as Smeg capsizes on the finishing line almost.
Uh-oh.
So, Tech 2 wins the 6th heat of the state championship. Jack McCartney continues his good form from prior to Christmas. So Tech 2 wins. Although Andu and Smeg were 1-2 on the water. They were not registered as finishers. Yandu's closed up a bit here. He's not that far behind. Tech 2 now. Had a good last beat. So Yandu now just tacking for the finish.
To watch the entire race 6 of the New South Wales Championships, go to 18footers.com. All 18-footer races are streamed live on that website.